before we're gonna start everything else, how's everything been going? With like tournaments and life and whatnot. How's everything been going?
Man, I really can't complain. My tournament season, if I'm being honest, it's been a tougher one.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had my best season. I feel like I've been just falling a little bit behind lately.
Yeah.
But conveniently, here on Sam Rayburn, I had a good tournament.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can carry that momentum going into actually the Lone Star Throwdown, which is going to be run in conjunction with the Texas State Championship for Bass Nation.
Okay.
And I haven't qualified for that Classic tournament yet.
Oh.
So I'm hoping to have a good finish there and then qualify for that Classic tournament. And then after that, it's the Tournament of Champions, and then the season's over.
Yeah, true. Are you doing any of the Bassmaster ones or just the Hobie ones?
I'm fishing the Bassmaster events. This year, it only worked out. I was only able to fish 2.
Okay.
Which is why I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really looking forward to next year. It sounds like they're going to come out with a pretty good schedule. Yeah. I don't know too much, but I've heard I need to hold out for it because it's going to be pretty cool.
I've been hearing the same thing. I mean, this year I kind of did some of the Bassmaster stuff. I fished one Hobie event, and then my kayak decided, hey, you don't get to steer anymore. So I was like, well, I guess we're just going to stop there. But it kind of ended my stuff and kept up with the content stuff. And on that content piece, I've been seeing you've been doing a lot of camera work, despite the tournament stuff, despite all that. You've been doing a lot of camera work and photo shoots and whatnot. So, what got you to start all of that?
Well, it all goes back to when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. My dad has always been into photography.
Okay.
And when I was in high school and even middle school, my dad kind of tried to get me into it, and I got my first 35 millimeter SLR camera when I was in high school.
Yeah. And
I started learning how to use it, and I always had I always loved photography. I always loved what you can do with it. I used to sneak out of the house and go try to take pictures of birds.
Yeah.
I was a little nerd like that, But anyways, I kind of, with the inception of mirrorless, I was able to, I realized, I can fit quite a bit of equipment in my kayak.
Yeah.
Since those cameras and those lenses, they're so much smaller. And so I bit the bullet and I bought a Sony A6000, which is like a very starter mirrorless DSLR interchangeable lens camera. And man, I loved it. I loved having that thing on me. I loved, I was able to take everything that I knew from that old camera back then, and I had it in this tiny little package, and I could do amazing things with it. And little by little, I started using it for my own content, and people started noticing. They liked it. They thought it was pretty cool. And so over time, I kind of invested in my gear, and, we're all trying to live this lifestyle. I'm trying very hard. I worked 9 to 5 for several years before I kind of left that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, it's not an easy thing to do to, get to fish as much as I do and then feed yourself. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to, kind of find more ways little by little to be able to support the lifestyle. And one of the things I came up with was, well, while I'm on the road, I might as well, maybe I can do some photography. And, it's not going to pay for everything, but it's at least going to offset some of the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I've had the opportunity to shoot with a lot of anglers, and it's been a great experience. It's really cool how when I get out with different anglers, I actually get to know some of these people I've never talked to by, being behind the camera. And it's been a great experience. I love it. If y'all know anybody who needs pictures, you know who to call.
Yeah. Hit them up. hit up Guillermo. No, yeah, man. I've been paying attention to a lot of your stuff, for a long time. I know you and my dad have known each other for a while. I was kind of like in the background, like, hey, little jig, whatnot. But, but no, it's, seeing the growth from just tournament fishing to just expanding to now, it's great. And I mean, how long have you been doing the tournament scene for?
So I'm going to try to actually put an actual date to this.
Lord.
I fished my first kayak tournament in 2011.
Wow, it's a while ago.
I feel like I'm an OG.
I would consider you an OG.
I feel like I'm an OG.
Yeah, no, wow. Where was that?
So it was when I was in college.
Okay.
I was at TCU, and it's funny backstory actually. I fished on the TCU college team. And crap. I've always considered myself to be a pretty well-rounded angler, but I never really took bass fishing super seriously. And let's face it, like, you want to be competitive in this game, you got to take it seriously. There's a lot to learn. You're constantly learning. There's so many. It's absolutely ridiculous how many ways there are to catch a bass.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And at the time, I had things that I liked to do, but I didn't feel like I was really that well versed, and I felt like I could get better. And the day that I realized I could get better was the day that I fished my very first college tournament for TCU. I skunked. 0. Actually, I take that back. I didn't skunk. I caught an 8-incher, but you can't score those.
No.
And it was on Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I remember being there, and it was first tournament ever, just kind of dejected. I didn't catch.
Of course, yeah.
Then wasn't able to weigh in a fish, and watching these guys weighing in all these fish, and I told myself, frickin' never again. I'm gonna learn everything there is to know.
Yeah.
And so I figured, what better way to become a better tournament angler than to tournament fish?
Yeah.
And even before that, I decided, I'm gonna buy a kayak. That's a way to get out there, and right now I can't afford a boat, and these kayaks are pretty sweet. You can do quite a bit in them, and I can learn everything I need to learn in a kayak. So that's what I'm gonna do. And so I bought my first Diablo Paddle Sports Audios, and man, I love that thing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I basically made it a point to learn as much as I could. And I went to lakes that I hated on purpose to get better at fishing them. And those are the lakes that really taught me the most, honestly.
Yeah.
And I entered my first kayak tournament, like I said, in 2011.
Yeah.
And it was on Joe Pool Lake, and I won. And from there, I was obsessed.
Oh, of course. Of course.
I mean, can you blame me?
No.
I caught in that tournament, at the time my 2 biggest kayak fish. Like, I remember I caught a 22 1/4 and a 23 1/2 on like practically back-to-back casts.
Oh.
And
you know how many people would like beg for that nowadays?
Oh, yeah. Oh. No, absolutely. And they were fatties too.
Oh,
it was a March tournament. It was cold. And from then on, I was pretty hooked. And I said, you know what? I think at the time that was the second tournament that trail was running. It was a local grassroots trail that we had in North Texas.
Okay.
And I decided to fish the rest of the schedule, and I had some success, and I really enjoyed it. And then from there, I made it a point to, like I said, keep learning, do as much as I can, get better, and the rest was history.
God, man, so through I'd like to say the entirety of your tournament career or kayaking career, whatever it is, who has been your biggest supporter through it all? Because I know it's not easy to do by yourself. Thankfully I have someone like my dad to help me out through it all. But who did it for you that helped you get through everything you needed to?
In terms of, of course, there's obvious, like my family. the good Lord and all that. But honestly, I lived in Fort Worth. My family was in Miami, and I didn't have a ton of mentorship. But what I did have was a great grassroots kayak fishing community.
Yeah.
And it was really around those guys that I felt supported, not just, as an angler, but as friends.
Yeah.
Guys like, Matthew Scotch, I've known him forever.
Yeah.
And he was at that very first tournament I ever fished. And guys like Jason O'Brien and Tom Hansen, and among so many others, guys that became great friends. We went on to do so much fishing together. I got to say, it's definitely guys like that helped me a bunch. And then, let's move forward a few years. I gained so many more great friends through fishing trails like Cats, and then transitioned to the Hobie. I've been friends with Christine for so long. And she's been such an amazing supporter of everything I do. And, those are my people. My kayak family is my people, and it all started at the grassroots level.
Of course.
And it just kind of evolved after that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, you said the good Lord's like obviously one of your biggest supporters, but I shouldn't say but how does your faith affect, the career you're in? How does it benefit you in what you're doing? Because I know in the BASS tournaments, I don't remember who runs it, but we do the check-ins, but there's a kind of a sermon thing before, the day before the tournament. But so I've done a few of those every once in a while since I've gone to the tournament. But how does it affect you in your tournament lifestyle, your career, and your family?
Well, that's a loaded question. In so many ways, and it's honestly, it's so hard. The Lord works in mysterious ways. It's so hard to pinpoint every little thing that I feel like has led me to where I am today, sitting here talking to you.
Of course.
But I'll go back, like when I worked at 9 to 5. I worked it for several years, and it was my third year. I got fired.
Okay.
I got let go. Things were slow. We were doing oil field contract work, and things were slow, and I was low on the totem pole, and they let me go. And at the time, I thought, the world's ending. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
And but I had a little bit of money saved up, and I was like, well, I'm gonna fish. I'm gonna fish for a while.
Yeah.
I want to go hard, and man, it's been honestly getting let go from that job was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because there was anything wrong with that job or anything I did there, but like, look at me now. I'm trying to form a lifestyle that allows me to do what I love with people that I love. And I wholeheartedly believe that, God played a role in that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I had to just, throughout any time I'm out on the water in a tournament, especially, the entire time I feel like I'm in almost open dialogue with God, and sometimes I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like I'm really upset. I'm like, really, dude? Like that had to happen. But I always tell myself that, a lot of times my will is not his will, and a lot of times certain things are not meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But the path that he has led me on is unlike anything I could have ever imagined. And all it takes to get to a place like that is just to trust him.
Absolutely.
And in trusting him, and that's not always easy. You want to be in control, and I still struggle with that quite a bit. But in trusting him, it's crazy where he can take you.
Absolutely.
And look at me now. I mean, I don't think anybody, you ask my mom and dad, anybody would have ever imagined that I'd be doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty spectacular.
No, it's awesome. And, being here and, having dinner with you and everything, you're the one that, like, takes charge. Like, hey, let me pray over the food. Let me pray over all of us. And that, honestly, it's something that, outside of the fishing world and outside of all that, it's something that a lot of people take for granted. Just being in depth in the faith and everything like that. Definitely, a lot of people take for granted, and like you said, people just try to do it on themselves, and it's hard to do that.
And mind you, I'm being one of them. Yeah. I still try.
Yeah, absolutely.
I trust, but I fail like crazy.
Yeah.
But it's funny how, like, when I start trying to take control of my own life, I usually get knocked upside the head at one point or another.
Oh, yeah,
he lets me know.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's bound to happen, but that's the good thing is you set yourself apart. And that's a great thing in this world that we're in. Is a lot of people try to be like everybody. I don't even want to say it, but a lot of people try to be like the Christine Fishers of the world, all the way up there. But not everybody knows the stories of how you guys got to where you're at. So you set yourself apart and you follow your faith, and you're like, you know what? No, this is what I'm following. I'm not going to follow the people. I'm going to follow the one man.
Right.
But which is a great thing. Something that I idolize, and I think a lot of other people do as well. And I think it's life-changing.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, I mean, I feel like you're making me sound like a saint. I'm the first one to tell you, like, I fail and I struggle and I constantly have to pick myself back up, and I have to ask God to help me get back up.
Yeah.
But he's faithful, and he'll help you get back up. All you gotta do is ask for it.
Absolutely.
The second you stop asking for help, that's when things get tough. And I'm not saying, I'll be the first to say that, being a Christian is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing easy about it. But as long as you're willing to ask him for help, he'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, did your faith, have you always had a faith throughout your years, or, has it kind of been like, when you were younger, yes, and then grew up a little bit, high school, middle school area, really, I don't know. But where did it start, for you in your life?
Well, I gotta say, ever since I was young, my mother and my father have done such an amazing job of showing me what's important. Yeah. And I'm very blessed to have that. Yeah. So since I was young, it's been bred into me, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for that.
Uh-huh.
And of course, some things you kind of come to on your own and whatnot, but I'm so thankful to, like I said, have a family that brought me up in faith and has really invested in my faith. When I was growing up, there was always a youth group to go to and whatnot, and so I'm blessed in that regard.
No, that's awesome. No, it really is. And you've taken it to your career now that you have, and like I said before, it's I like to say idolize, but it's kind of like it is, because when I was growing up, it was kind of going to that Sunday service kind of thing. But my dad was military for 30 years. It wasn't a normal thing. But eventually, when I got to my later high school years and everything, it was something I took more serious, and something I was like, you know what, I'm realizing the things that I did before I can't do on my own. Especially going into the kayak fishing world, it was like try to do everything on your own. For me, it was I can't do this on my own. I can't just do it with my dad. I can't just do it with myself. It's, I gotta lay it out. I gotta get the help from you know who.
Right.
Gotta get the help from God, and everything like that. But, it's good. God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Of course.
This is good stuff.
It is.
I like what you're doing.
I hope so. Got to do things different sometimes.
Right.
Got to do things different sometimes. But outside of that, with your tournament career in the kayak fish, kind of just like bringing it back around to that. You just finished what, 8th, 9th in this tournament? 9th in this tournament at the Hobie BOS. Sam Rayburn, you just finished 9th.
Yep.
I was pulling through you, I was pulling and watching the entire tournament because Pops and I were out of the bass boat, not fishing the tournament. But I'm looking at the leaderboard, and all I saw was Christina and Guillermo. I'm like, what the heck? What are they doing? Are they fishing together? What are they doing? And I just see you guys moving up. And let's just say the leaderboard didn't get turned off until after the tournament ended for today. And I just kept watching. I'm like, all right, there we are. It was awesome. Just watching you climb up. Because yesterday we were kind of worried. We didn't see you upload a dang thing.
Yeah, I was kind of worried yesterday too, by the way. I had 3 fish at 1 o'clock yesterday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
And I had to kind of just change my strategy.
Yeah.
And once I changed my strategy, I was able to kind of adapt and pick up a few more keepers. But, I mean, the boat traffic yesterday was wild. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't affect some of the stuff I was fishing. And more than anything, honestly, it probably just affected me up here. But nonetheless, I had 3 keepers at 1, and I had to do something. So
Yeah. No, we were, Pops and I were watching. He was just behind the camera. We were watching. It was 1 or 2 o'clock, and we didn't see a dang thing from you. We were like, oh, crap, dude. He doesn't have anything. And then all of a sudden, just boop-a-doop-a-doop. I'm like, okay. Guess he found him. Yeah. That was awesome. But, yeah, it was entertaining to watch. The whole tournament, I think he can agree to, was kind of who's going where, what's what, But it's a pretty successful tournament, I'd say.
Yeah.
Today, however, I don't think it was very successful for a couple people. One person in particular, Eric Siddiqui. Yeah, heard he knows how to. What did he say?
Actually, you know what you ought to do? Take a quick break.
Like right now? Oh, you're gonna get him right now?
I'll get him right now.
Okay, I guess he's gonna get him right now.
All right. My pants off.
What? You're gonna take your pants off? All right. Well, come take a seat because we were talking about the tournament day today. Just ignore that little box.
I'm just gonna do that when you're talking, or I can hand it to you.
Okay. But we were talking about the tournament day today and how some people had a good day, some people did not have a good day, and I heard you did not.
Yeah, I didn't.
Care to explain to the folks why you didn't have a good time?
Well, I was putting some chartreuse dye on one of my baits, and I had the chartreuse dye sitting right here while I was putting it on there. And a boat came up behind me and hit me with a wave, and it spilled all over my lap.
So I saw the pants earlier when you got them out of the wash, but it looked pretty bad.
It was bad. I at first
trying to keep this as PG as much.
At first I was like, damn it, and then I felt the wetness come through to my underwear, and then I felt it past there. And the next thing I know, the next thing I know, I was on fire.
So let's just say you took fire crotch to like a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So did the dye work?
It did. It dyed my worm yellow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What were you dyeing in the first place? Was it a worm?
It was
not,
It was a caffeine shad.
Oh.
Yeah, I was putting a little yellow on the tail. We had some overcast conditions. And so, yeah, it was something little pop out a little bit. Yeah.
Well, turns out the dye works. It does turn worms yellow.
It does.
This might be a personal question, but did it actually turn yellow?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It was yellow. And I knew it was yellow pretty quick because I took my pants and underwear off as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And then kind of leaned over the side of the kayak and started splashing. And there was a boater around, too. He looked pretty concerned himself. I don't know. But
he got a full frontal.
Yeah,
action?
he did. Yep.
Oh.
I didn't really care at the time.
No,
So I was trying to save the family jewels.
They're important.
Yeah.
They're very important.
Right.
Well, thanks for the segment.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime.
I could have sworn I heard something else happen too
What's that?
with your drag.
Oh, yeah.
This is another good story.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Well, my first fish of the day was, I didn't actually catch it. I was throwing a 1/4 ounce buzzbait and had a big one, eat it, set the hook, and just pull drag. And I immediately said, "Damn it, Cody!" Because every time Cody Milton picks up one of my rods and looks at it, he backs a drag off. To be nice, because he's trying to save.
Nice.
Yeah, trying to save my reels, but he never tells me when he does it.
What's his excuse? His excuse is it makes the
the reels,
last longer.
It makes the reels last longer.
It makes the reels last longer.
Yep. I called him up right after. Yeah, he does.
He does.
He does.
He's a pickleballer now.
But it's pretty impressive to screw me from a tournament he's not even at.
Yeah, nice job, dude. Nice job.
He said, I called him up. He said, "Well, it saves the reels. They last longer." I said, "I could have bought a new reel for the amount of money I lost on that fish that I lost." So,
my Lord. What else happened to you? Anything
it was
else?
a long day.
Yeah.
When things are not going well, it seems like nothing goes right. So, I mean,
It'd be like that sometimes.
yeah.
It does. It does be like that.
Yep. I'd want to eat a football jig and the trailer hooked back into the hook and all that stuff. Everything, all that stuff happened today. It was one of those days, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well,
I stayed in it. I called a couple times in the last half hour.
that's good.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
You got it done.
Yeah.
What did you place?
16? Yeah.
16? Yeah, got a check.
Still got a check, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
After the fire crotch and all,
Yeah.
he got paid.
Yeah, I kind of sat there naked in the chair for a little bit and said, "What do I do now?" So,
I know.
but, yeah, I mean, I couldn't put the underwear back on because it was soaked, so I kind of like washed my pants off in the water, and just went commando. But
Did you pedal
I
back?
actually had a
naked?
hole in the crotch of my pants that I was wearing, so yeah, things fell out while I was pedaling around all day, so that was fun.
Wow. I mean, you're fishing out of a Hobie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have just took out the drive, see if that chartreuse really works.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I appreciate the stories.
Yeah.
They were great.
No problem.
I really hope that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But I really
Me
hope
too.
it does so that we can have another segment like this.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I'm gonna be a lot more careful with the dye from now on. I don't know what I thought that might have felt like, but I was wrong. It's way worse.
Yeah, maybe not put it in your lap. Try to do it like in front of you.
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, it's like once you get a treble hook, stuck in you, you're a lot more careful with them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a lot more careful with the dye from now on.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. All right, man. Get out of here. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Siddiqui and his fire crotch.
Eric Siddiqui.
Oh, God.
Always a story with that guy. I'll scooch in here.
All right. Well, that was the who did decent but also had a bad time tournament day.
I'd say he did pretty good, all
He
things considered.
did. Yeah, he did cash a check, texted the tournament director saying that he had some issues and had a shower, couldn't show up for his check.
Yeah.
But man, you know, I'm gonna leave out one more thing. I'm gonna ask you one more question. What is one piece of advice that you would leave the audience, whether if it's in fishing or regular life? What's your one piece of advice?
Get out of your comfort zone. You know, the one thing that I feel like I can attribute to any success I've had in fishing is challenging myself and doing things that I don't particularly love. Like I mentioned earlier, going to lakes that challenge me, that I don't like, that because I don't catch fish there for whatever reason, you know. And those are the places that make you a better fisherman.
Yeah.
And, you know, that applies to so many things in life. You know, just getting out of your comfort zone and being willing to try things that you might not otherwise try or do, or doing things a certain way that you may not typically think of doing them. So if I had to give any advice, I think that's an easy one.
That's awesome. I think I need to challenge myself now. No, that was good. Dude, it's been a blast. Like, I enjoyed our weekend / week that we've had. Yeah, hope to see you soon after this.
Yeah, me too, man. It's always a good time. Anytime I get to hang out with you and your dad's a hoot. I love that man. No homo. But he's a cool dude. Always enjoy seeing him. Always got a big hug ready for him.
Of course. He's a legend.
Definitely a legend.
Legend in the industry. But man, it's been great. Really appreciate you coming on and everything. And yeah.
I hope you'll have me on again sometime.
I sure as hell hope so.
Awesome, man.
Absolutely.
I'll be ready.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.